Hi guys, my name is Saurav. This is the first video lecture on geography for UPSC preparation. In this series, we are going to focus on conceptual clarity in the subject, and also we are going to solve some past year UPSC questions on that topic. I hope this series helps you in your preparation for UPSC. So on that note, let's start the lecture. Basically, we are going to cover the origin of the universe today, how the universe came into being. Initially, we are going to cover the Big Bang theory, which describes the origin of the universe. Then we'll find out what dark matter is. From there, we will talk about how subatomic particles and then atomic particles were formed. And in that, we'll also try to find out why hydrogen is the most abundant element in the universe. Then we'll try to understand what is meant by radiation. For example, UV radiation, visible light, microwave, X-rays, what all these radiations means. And we'll also see their characteristics. Finally, we'll also cover the galaxies and their types. So this is our syllabus for the day. Let's start. So the theory about the origin and the evolution of the universe is given by Big Bang theory. Although there are other theories as well, but this is the most acceptable theory which talks about the origin and the evolution of the universe. So let's see what this theory means. So as per this theory, in the beginning, all matter and substance forming this universe existed at one place as a tiny point called singularity. So before everything else came into being, there was a singular point which was very small and it had extremely small volume, infinite density and infinite temperature. So these were the characteristics of this point. This point was called singularity. So before universe formed, everything was contained in this point only. Almost 13.7 billion years ago, a big explosion took place that you can see in the image as well. And this image started a process of expansion, which still continues to this day. So this point of singularity expanded, there is a big explosion took place. This explosion that you can see in the image is also called the Big Bang. Okay, and from this point onwards, the universe is still expanding. Now let's talk about dark matter, what dark matter is. So before that, let me tell you what universe is made up of. So universe is made up of atomic mass that you can feel. Whatever you see around yourself is made up of atomic mass, and we also have energies in the form of radiation. And the third thing that is there, that is the dark matter. This dark matter, it got lost during Big Bang. So after the explosion took place, some of the matter got lost, and this matter which was lost after the explosion, that is called dark matter. It is also called the hidden mass of the universe. Okay, we call it dark matter as it doesn't reflect any light, and also we do not know where it exists. So we do not know its location. People say that dark matter could be black holes as well. We can see stars because it reflects light and they produce light as well. But this doesn't produce any light, and at the same time it doesn't reflect any light as well. That's why we are not able to see the dark matter. So in this image, you can try to understand by looking at the holes. So all these holes from where the light is not coming are the dark matter. This could be the possible location of the dark matter. So till now we have seen that almost 13.7 billion years ago there was a loud explosion that is called the Big Bang, and after that what happened? Some of the matter got lost, and that matter which was lost, which is not producing any kind of light, which is not emitting any kind of light, that is called the dark matter. Okay, so now let's see what happened after the Big Bang. So within the first 3 minutes from the Big Bang event, the particles started forming. Okay, and initially the subatomic particles like the electron, proton and neutron, they started forming, as you can see in the image as well. So initially the subatomic particles started forming, but because they were not stable, they could not independently exist. They started forming atoms which were stable, and then from atoms we had molecules and then matter that we see around us. Now these subatomic particles like electron, protons and neutrons, they were not stable, so they were looking to form atoms, as we have seen. So the simplest atom that they could form was hydrogen, because hydrogen just required one electron and one proton. So it was much easier for the subatomic particles like electron, proton and neutron to form hydrogen, because it just required one electron and one proton. That's why they started forming hydrogen very fast. So 95% of the entire universe is made up of hydrogen, because it was much easier for the subatomic particles to form hydrogen. And because it was the easiest atom to form, So it is the most abundant gas in the atmosphere. Now let's look at the periodic table. Here you can see that hydrogen is the number one element in the periodic table, and after that what comes is your helium. So helium requires 2 proton and 2 electrons. So basically from hydrogen helium started forming, and from helium all other elements came into being. From hydrogen to helium, then lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, like that. This is how the periodic table of elements came into being. So we have covered the formation of hydrogen. That was the easiest to form. Now let's see how after hydrogen helium came into being. So the next element to be formed was helium, but that required nuclear fusion of 2 hydrogen atoms. So 2 hydrogen atoms, this one and this one, they combine to form helium. But nuclear fusion reaction requires a lot of heat to take place, and that is why it is also called thermonuclear fusion reaction. For the temperature required for thermonuclear reaction is almost 10 million degrees Celsius. This kind of temperature is only available at the stars. Okay, so this temperature for nuclear fusion reaction to take place between 2 hydrogen atoms, this temperature is only available at the stars in the universe, and that is the reason why only at the stars this hydrogen is combining with another hydrogen to form helium. Okay, so basically stars are factories which are producing helium from hydrogen. So this is the sun, and over here you can see the kind of temperature which is available, and this is the temperature which helps in the nuclear fusion, and that is why only at the stars nuclear fusion is taking place. So now let's come to the third part of the lecture, that is the radiation. So what is meant by the radiation? So after the formation of particles, so as we have seen that the particles started forming within the first 3 minutes, and after this 3 minutes, almost 4 lakh years later, we captured a radiation that is called the microwave radiation. It was emitted and observed in 1964. We don't know why we only found microwave radiation. It was recorded by a cosmic background explorer. That was a NASA project, and it also got a Nobel Prize for that. So basically radiation is the transmission of energy in the form of waves or through space or through a medium. Some of the radiations like radio waves, microwave radiations, infrared, visible light, ultraviolet, X-rays and gamma radiation that you already know. So radiations are basically the energies which are traveling in the form of waves through space or traveling through a medium. So this is the electromagnetic spectrum where all the important waves are mentioned. For example, these are the waves which are having less frequency, and these are the waves which are having high frequency. Okay, these are having higher wavelength and these are having lower wavelength, as you can see in the image as well. So the wavelength basically means the distance between 2 consecutive crests or 2 consecutive troughs. Okay, so here you can see the distance is higher, that's why the wavelength is higher. Frequency basically means the number of repetition in a particular interval of time. Okay, so here you can see the number of repetition are higher, that's why the frequency is also higher. Okay, and we know that wavelength is inversely proportional to frequency, and frequency is directly proportional to energy. Okay, so basically that means, so these are the rays, X-rays, gamma rays, they will have higher frequency, that means they will also have higher energies and they will have lower wavelength. On the other hand, in case of radio, microwave, these will have higher wavelength, in turn lower frequency, at the same time lower energy as well. In between we have the visible light, that is the colors of the rainbow, that is VIBGYOR. So here I am going to tell you about the VIBGYOR, that is the visible light. In between violet and red, let's see which has more frequency, which has more energy and which has more wavelength. So as you can see in the image as well, when the flame is burning, at the bottom of the flame we have the color that is bluish or violet. Okay, and as the flame, as you reach higher, as you go higher, the color changes to more yellowish or reddish, okay, or orangish. So this basically means at the bottom of the flame the energy is very high because all the gases are present here, and as it goes up, the presence of gases are lesser, and because of that the color is lesser. So this is having higher energy and this is having lower energy. This color, which is violet or blue, will be having higher energy, that means they will have higher frequency, and that means they will have lower wavelength. And the color which is at the top, that is orange and red, will have lesser energy, that means lesser frequency, that means higher wavelength. The reason why all the warning signs are red is because we can see it from a long distance because it has a higher wavelength. Now let's come to the final part of this lecture, that is about the galaxies. So a galaxy is basically a huge collection of gas, dust and billions of stars and their planetary systems. Galaxies are composed of gas, dust, lots of stars, billions of stars in fact, and all the stars will also have their planetary systems. For example, the sun has the solar system. In the same way, the other stars will also have their own planetary systems. And all these things are held together by gravity. And all these things are revolving around the core. Okay. For example, in the Milky Way galaxy, even the sun is revolving around the core. Let's see some of the other features of galaxies. So all the large galaxies are thought to also contain the supermassive black holes at their center. So at their center, we also have massive black holes. Even our galaxy, that is the Milky Way galaxy, also has a supermassive black holes in the middle. So let's see what are the types of galaxies. The types of galaxies are decided on their shapes as well. So if it is spiral, it will be called a spiral galaxy. So our Milky Way galaxy is having a spiral shape. Let's see about the features of the Big Bang Theory. So the Big Bang Theory basically says that the galaxies which are formed are moving away from each other after the Big Bang, and that is why the universe is expanding. But the galaxies themselves do not expand, and all the matter within the galaxies revolve around the central core. For example, suppose this and this are the galaxies. So these are moving away from each other, but this itself is not expanding. So this the shape of this galaxy, and this galaxy, this is not expanding. Only they are moving away from each other. The reason why they are not expanding is because all the matter in the galaxies are revolving around a central core which is there. It could be a supermassive black holes as well that we have just seen. So these are the features of the Big Bang Theory. So now let's revise what we have discussed. So the Big Bang Theory actually happened 13.7 billion years ago, and after the Big Bang, what happened? Within the first 3 minutes, the subatomic particles like electrons, protons, neutrons started forming, and because they were not stable, that's why the atomic particles started forming, and from there the molecules and the matter started forming. After that, almost 4 lakh years later, we had a microwave radiation which was observed by Cosmic Background Explorer, which was a project of NASA. And after that, we had a period of darkness for millions of years. For hundreds of millions of years, we had a period of darkness, complete darkness. There was no light which was coming out. Okay. And after that, we first observed the visible light, and then UV radiation, and then the formation of stars and galaxies took place. Okay. So this is the timeline over which the origin of the universe came into being. So this is the question that came in the UPSC examination. I hope you will be able to solve this question after going through this lecture. I'm going to discuss this question in the next class. So that's it for today. I hope you have now understood the universe a little better. In the next lecture, we are going to cover the formation of stars and its different stages, from nebula, supernova to black holes as well. That will also help you in understanding the sun as well. So till that lecture, thank you so much. Have a good day.